Hello, I'm Emily Falcon. I have remarried the second husband, John, who has remarried the second wife, Madison, with whom they are preparing for their son's wedding. Unlike John, I don't have kids, but let's say his do not relate to me biologically, but they are dear to me. My son Kyle is already 30 years old, and at that age he can bring the bride to the house. When 26-year-old Madison came to introduce herself, I thought we would be friends, but my son interrupted me and said that it was not worth it. I was surprised. What do you mean? This is your stepmother, but Kyle told me. She's just my dad's second wife. They got married when I was little, but I've never thought of her as my mom. It was painful for me because I have been there from Kyle's childhood until now. I survived him as an idiotic teenager, and he sees me as an opportunity to have a clean house. And John added, Madison is here. There is no need to nod at her. You were a free clown in the house as long as I kept you in a good mood. It became clear to me that I was considered a worker as the wedding rhythm began. You are part-time and opportunistic, Madison noticed. Feeling hurt, denied, and deceived, I took a drive over the course of that day. I wasn't going to the wedding, and as I was parked at home, my phone recorded what was happening. Even as they were coming into a room together, ready for what they anticipated would be quite a few guests, given what J. John had been telling me, were met with a barren venue. Not a single person showed up. Every person he had been saying about, particularly those politicians, didn't show up. It flawed their day and place in mine. I sat watching them when I opened a cup of coffee and the news, feeling inexplainably untroubled. It was my right to feel this way after they treated me the way they did. Just as they realized what had happened from their experience, I could just smile. I have been treated, and now everyone was going to learn that. Hey, Kyle, what are you doing? This event seems to have far fewer people than what we saw round 5 years ago. Weren't we going to have a celebration with 12 guest roles, remember? I don't know. My dad is furious right now. He expected a bus full of people at the door. He has been preparing, even buying business spinners for the politicians and their campaigns. Politicians? Why would politicians be at this gather? We have no family members who are politicians. Are you joking? Emily said she could get a hold of the simple elections. You know, CEOs from various businesses. I even told Madison's father, Emily. She said she could check the politicians' simple buttons and those other people. That is what my father said. I haven't seen a photograph of a CEO, and not even one person my parents might have played prophecy with is here. How does that also work? This day is completely collapsing for me. All right, let's call Emily. She may not be our parent, but maybe even a plant gives an equal touch to the new pillow. True, but it is still not enough. I have invested heavily in the food expecting the big shots to appear. Just one extra person will not be of significance. It is still an awful picture in this spacious venue. Maybe there is an error committed. Is there a possibility that I have the wrong invitation day? Nope, I have my cousins and an aunt. We can at least have one person. I will call Emily. So he called me and asked to come here ASAP. I didn't have time to ask why he did it. Anyway, I thought, let's go. Congratulations for wedding, I said to Madison, in a wedding dress, but not much feeling of sincerity. Hey, why you're dressed like this? Madison pushed of the air. Well, you said no strangers will come, so I came dressed like that. What's the matter? You know we had to call you because no one came, so we came dressed like that order girl. Thing that a dead tree will mend in place. A useless maid. You just hang up the phone without saying anything. What can I do? Come grab a dress and go. I will never. Say the best word not to have strangers. And you? I say it when we need to scupper. What do you want me to do? I smiled. You know what? Let me tell you. As I signaled them on start to panic. Now it is time to tell the tithe. Most of 100 people that came are my pedestrians. I told my relatives not to come because they were like strangers and there were 100 people lying relatives. Makes sense, right? Then it is strange that your sister and brother came. Isn't this strange? Even though it is not welcome to invite strangers, would you consider your sister and brother strangers since their spouses are, and so you asked them not to attend? Then either your sister or brother agreed not to come. I have not heard about this one. Obviously. Both your sister and brother were on my side. Well, doubtless. Why not? They are my siblings, but do you even care? Have you ever helped them? Indeed, it is true that they also borrowed money from you, but you did not let them stay and turn down help, saying you are a part of a low-income family and blamed them to borrow a big sum of money from loan sharks. It is very unlike you, as even where you need to follow formality to reject others, you were very rude to them. But it was a waste of time. That is why your siblings decided not to attend this reception. But corporates, they won't come even if you wait. Why? Kyle's company is related to my work, so they decided not to come once they found out I will not attend the reception or the wedding. They told me people could not give them back. They could not come to the ceremony. Why would they even come up with this? People are talking, well, and it's not a secret. It's starting conversation to just say, Kyle is getting married. Did you know that? And quickly followed by, actually. Why would everyone cancel the day before? This has never happened to me before. Did you do this on purpose? Of course not. I didn't have the need to tell them. They think of me on their own. However, why is everyone not coming now? It is strange that even my uncles and aunts have not come. They all owe me a favor, so it can't be helped. Why do they owe you? If what you say is true, you should have gotten some considerable wealth, right? You are just a part-timer, right? Somebody like you who is a part-timer cannot do anything for somebody. Why do you think somebody would work so late or also have such early meetings? That is only what you thought. But it has always been part-timer for me. If I was so part-timer, where else would I go? Who would work every early morning or prepare meals for you at night? I thought I was just a maid for you, but I have constantly done all the work to work under you from my home. Then, are you not just a part-timer? CEO, you should have told me so early. Just a slight resistance. What would you have done if I said I was a CEO? Would you have continued to financially support me and just have had fun with me, ordering me to do all the cleaning for you? But you could have found me suspicious, so I remained silent. I'll properly reconsider. Call everyone back. Oh no, you prohibited strangers, didn't you? Nonetheless, as you call everyone, not everyone has the time. If we don't do it, my son will be ridiculed. You caused this, so gather 100 people. While John was ranting, my parents suddenly came. What is happening? John was blushing, and my parents stood up. Ah, Kyle, the seats are almost empty. Why did you prepare for 100 people? My relatives say that they have not seen such a disgraceful wedding. It was family. Why were you bragging about a big rival then? It's shameful for me. I didn't mean for it to be like this. You must have known that more people would come than the check marks on the invitation. If that was the case, you guys should have increased our numbers, I suppose. What about the politicians and big company CEOs? Everyone was envious. They thought that such people would come, so everyone kept saying that I was marrying a big guy. This is all the more embarrassing. No, Mr. Smith, it's not like that. John, that's not what you said in your message. How could you have us go through all of this? Please, Father, please don't be angry. You know, I told you I won't let any liars marry my daughter in my lifetime, so forget this engagement. Mister, it was a joke. I know 100 people wouldn't come. Calm down. Son, don't say it's because of you. It's her fault. Her. All because of this maid. You gathered 100 maids. Your actions have affected Madison's father, too. What are you going to do? Us is Mrs. Emily Falcon, the CEO. Emily Falcon, CEO? You mean Kyle's mother? A maid. At that time, my mother seized the opportunity and turned it into a nasty incident. Yes, I used to be Kyle's mother, but when they came to introduce themselves for the marriage, I was demoted to a maid. That's why I didn't attend the meeting. Gethish code. What do you mean? How could you say this? How could you say such absurd things to a person whose character is Mrs. Emily Falcon? I was also surprised. But apparently, he is not my son. It is a shame. That is ridiculous. It can't be helped. It is normal for someone not to see a stepmother as their mother. That is unbelievable. It is an unbelievable fortune to have Mrs. Emily Falcon as a mother. I mentioned that the engagement was canceled earlier, but if that means being able to get close to you, please do not cancel. You may continue. But I will soon be divorced, so Kyle will probably be a stranger. What? Why the sudden divorce? I said, I'm a stranger after all. No, that can't be. Are you joking? Madison told me that strangers break everything, and strangers shouldn't attend. It's better to have no one to help you. Madison said this wedding was planned as a place where many industry people could be invited, but at Madison's request, I canceled all of them, thus all of these vacated seats. What? Well, that's sufficient. I was going to follow Madison's orders. Madison said, Did you just say that she was a stranger? Ah, Kyle and John said she was an ordinary maid. What do you want to talk about when you're in front of such a big shot? So go ahead and marry, but I don't think I can trust a person who raises such a child. Then you have to reconsider our contract. What? That's to be expected. Hey, let's think about this one more time. I know we're more or less done, but truthfully, I'm also at fault here. After all, who's to blame for this terrible offspring we've created? I've got big shoes to fill in that regard. But hold on a sec before we unplug this bad marriage and make it official. Consider this. If we stick around, we'll eventually become married-in-law, whatever the hell that is. It's weird, but my point is I get it. But let's say we call thing off. Our whole company's going to go down with ship. Madison, you've got to get over yourself and apologize to Mrs. Emily Falcon, she said with a laugh. I know, that must have hurt, but if you won't do it, we're done. Madison mumbled sorry on her lips in front of all the people. It was brutal. And there is Mum standing here, she continued, and watching Madison trying to apologize, but maybe it was a good thing. Wait, do you think that you are a stranger to me? Awkward. Hold up, if this marriage is going to happen, I could become the next CEO of a small company. Wait, Madison's father is not a big CEO. And don't get me started on Madison. She behaves like she's too good to do anything. I thought that in a month of marriage she would get more responsible, but she is still lying in luxury. Hold up, we need Mrs. Emily Falcon to survive. Like right now, we practically beg her to help us, but bankruptcy is looming. But of course, Mrs. Emily Falcon say no. There is too much drama, and she is not going to be friends with us. Can you blame her? So wedding is off. The front door was not even open yet, and I was already preparing my luggage to go. John calls me, almost crying, and I'm like, fine, honestly, it's cool with me. Not John. He is all about apologies now, but the divorce papers are already on the desk. Hold up, I didn't mean we were strangers. But you know it happens, and what can you do, right? Now John wants to slap me on the back with the let's start anew, I love you bullshit. It's all too little, too late, don't you think, man? You can't just turn the light switch off overnight and choose which approach to take. But this is where the truth really gets interesting. Our son's marriage is non-existent. What the heck, and it's all my fault? This is the final turn of events in this plot. If we were having a nice wedding feast and enjoying our honeymoon by now, that would be incentive. Here we are, neck deep in these complications. I didn't do anything wrong. All we did was talk the truth. You're back to blaming others, huh? Next, only my begging you to get a divorce might persuade you, but I have one serious card up my sleeve. What if our shopkeeper users began talking crap about his job as CEO because he thought he was better than everyone else? You didn't think of beginning over until you found out I held the reins at a massive organization. Then you realized what an extremely ridiculous error that truly was. There are a few categories of customers, but let me point out one thing. Every important CEO has a successor, right? So if Kyle desires to participate in the company and eventually take over as CEO, why not allow it? But that's bolstering. You see, what about Kyle's abilities to run your organization for a second? Do you believe he's going to destroy it in a few months? You're mistaken. What if he demonstrates just how wrong you are right now? What is this? Kyle knows he will never be capable of running the country, and you know this as well. Why did he leave his current position? Because he felt he didn't need to work for his mother anymore, even if it was only for half the regular salary. His work, his duty, he had to run away from it. Run to help his mother? It is for the best, despite the fact that you and I are divorcing. But we're not divorced yet. He's still your son. But I ordered the lawyers a long time ago. Your ex-husband said something to me, but I didn't even listen. Just hung up and blocked him for good. Then it was necessary to end a dispute about who will pay the penalty for the ruined wedding. But of course, the cutest guys, John and Kyle, did, because Doyle was better at counting money. The guys did not have money for a lawyer, so they reluctantly signed. Enlarged cancellation bill for ruined marriage. Stupid, right? Therefore, Kyle, who became unemployed and, as it were, decided to throw all the responsibility on me and make sure that I am the curse before your ex-husband. He rattled them. Yes, if I had married her, settled with a small private matter, I could have been the boss. Well, I quit because it was hard. If you hadn't left my family, well, in the end, it's your fault, Dad. Now, Kyle became a burden. As he alleges, my ex-husband is helping him, but their life leaves much to be desired. Being over 50, with his low salary further decreased, Cly realized it only after all this episode. Kyle wrote me and asked how he made it without my assistance. He explained that it is with my paycheck that he survived. Anyway, I blocked his number and we lost contact. Trying to apply to welfare but failing, Kyle sold his home to make ends meet. Now he has nowhere to live and situated in a dilapidated apartment with drafts. Meanwhile, my ex constantly interrupts between the daily job and the night shift, trying to survive. Whereas I was able to rent a deluxe apartment located near my office, far from the hustle and bustle of troublesome life and one unstable business. My husband even does not know that $6,600 comes as a monthly expense from my side. I was even happy to inform him. I'll dwell